can see Jeeps are good for something other than climbing rocks. And what I call push mowing is where that word comes from is when these machines first came out, you would actually have to physically push it across the yard. And then the self-propelled feature became in, and they're still called, at least in my neck of the woods, a push mower. But what this is, it's a 21-inch deck width. Similar to your little small Cub Cadets or something, little Husqvarnas that you would buy at Lowe's, but it's built in a way that it can hold up, or it's supposed to hold up to commercial use, meaning day in, day out, mowing. Well, we like a lot of push mower. We use a lot of we do a lot of push mower mowing because it all goes back to my philosophy on lawn care is I'm all about the health of the turf. I don't care how hard it is. I don't care how much longer it takes. I don't care if it's faster or slower. That doesn't bother me one bit. I care about the end result and how the turf looks. And obviously, if you put a heavier mower, let's say on a very wet yard, you're going to get a less desirable result than if you use a smaller mower. Now that's just one teeny tiny example. So I know there are mowers out there that can mow in wet conditions and it do fine. But for me, my preference is to use the smaller mower. Little small gated backyards, we like using small push mowers. Areas that are sloped, we like using push mowers. So the tires don't track up the slope so bad and it doesn't tend to slide down the slope. So there's lots of uses for the push mower. Lots of homeowners use the push mower. I was walking through the GIE in Kentucky, did not even remotely have push mowers on my mind. I was going to see something else. Happened to walk by the Massport setup and took a glance. Paid no attention to it, kept walking. The second time through, I took a harder glance and stopped and looked and said, that's interesting. That's one of the very few push mower setups that I've seen at the GIE. So the third time I stopped by, I actually went in, and looked at this thing in detail, and I was incredibly impressed. We have been through, I cannot tell you how many push mowers we have been through in 15 years. I couldn't even throw a number at you, but it's a lot of them. We've been through the X Mark 21s, the X Mark old 26s, the X Mark 30s. We've used the Hondas. We started off using the Cub Cadets with the little swivel wheel in the front. And we just do so much push mowing, they wear out so quickly. So that's what got me interested in this. And there were two things that caught my attention on this mower. So let's go over those two things. I'm going to show you what caught my eye and what made me purchase this mower right here. One is the tires. That was the first thing that caught my attention, because the majority of the push mowers out there, they're going to have a plastic rim, plastic tire. They wear out. The Hondas we have now, we wear the tires out continuously. They're not the high-end commercial Hondas. We were trying to save money, so we bought the $500 version and not the $1,200 version. And I would, so I'd probably say chalk that one up for a dumb mistake, Peter, because they're not cut out for commercial duty. I was thinking we could swap them out every other year and so on, but that's not going to work. But these tires are solid rubber, just like a car tire. Now, obviously, they don't have air in them. It's solid rubber all the way through, but it's not plastic. It's actual rubber, just like these Toyo Open Countries, which is going to make them last a long time. Look at how thick they are. There's my thumb right here. Let's go get a ruler and let's measure that. So this tire is almost 3 inches wide on the back, and the front tire is 2 inches wide. So the other really cool feature that caught my eye was the deck adjustment, the height adjustment on it. And if you can see, the majority of mowers, like on this X Mark, and I'm not picking on X Mark, we've been using them 15 years. I've got a shop completely full of red, so I'm an X Mark guy at heart. But you have to adjust that wheel, then adjust this wheel, and then there's one lever back here where you adjust the back two at one time. So that's 3 adjustments you have to make in order to raise or lower the deck height. Well, this thing, not sure who come up with this ingenious idea, but you reach here, you squeeze, and you pull, and the entire mower goes up and down. This looks to be like a free-floating type. Well, no, actually it's a shaft that goes through here that raises and lowers that. And then here is the mechanism or the drive that goes all the way back to here and then goes up under the body to this handle. So this is just incredibly cool. One hand, let's see if we can see the whole thing. Let's get over here and do it. It's kind of hard doing this with one hand. But look at that. The entire deck goes up and down. One hand, very, very quickly. The next thing that is just so impressive to me, because a lot of mowers lack this, is height. Now, obviously for Bermuda, maybe some zoysia, Bermuda in particular, this height doesn't mean a hill of beans to you. I'm not sure about Kentucky bluegrass. I'm not educated in that. I don't know what kind of height those things like, but I'm a tall fescue guy. Summertime, I'm between 4 and 5 inches at mowing. Yes, 4 and 5 inches. We're going to mow it that high. There's other videos I make that explains why that is. But you can look at this thing, that's all the way up. It literally looks like it has a lift kit on it. Kind of like that Jeep. It is jacked up in the air. This is full height, so let's go down here with our ruler. Let's find the blade. And let's measure this thing. Let's see how high it is. Right there. All right. So the blade comes all the way up to this notch right here. See this notch? Well, look where my 4-inch mark is. My 4-inch mark is back down here. It will cut at 5 inches. Yep, it will cut at 5 inches tall. That is amazing to me. So, it comes with a, this is the Massport contractor. It comes with 2 or 3 engine options. Comes with the Honda engine option, where you can see I got the Briggs. I went with the Briggs on this one. 99.9% of the time, if I have the option to choose whether I want a Briggs or Honda or Subaru or whatever, Kawasaki, if it's a small engine, small motor, I'm going to pick the Honda, just because a Honda's a Honda. It's the reputation precedes them. But in this case, I went with the Briggs. Why? Is because it's a little more CC. The torque was a little more, and it was 1 full horsepower more, and it was $200 cheaper. This mower out the door, tax, tag, and title, was $800. To give you an idea, the Honda version is going to be about $1,000. So what comes with it, let's see. Well, they give you 1 high lift blade, which is on the mower, and then you also get 1 mulching blade with it. Let's open this up and see what it looks like. All right, so here's your mulching blade, and you can see it's a typical mulching blade with the grooves cut out, so that as it cuts the grass and the clippings flow over top of the blade, these serrations here chop the grass up a little finer. Because you don't have anywhere for the grass to discharge out, or you're not throwing it in the bagger. It's just dropping straight down under the mower. So that's why it chops it up finer like that. So it comes with a mulching blade as well. The bagger is super high quality. I really like this. Nice metal handle that's wide for folks. I got big hands, so I can grab it with no problem. The quality on this material, it's really thick, but yet still breathable. I do like this. It's got a hard plastic bottom, so when you're mowing that turf higher, if this was a netting type material on it, you would just think that would wear out over time, but this hard plastic should last a little longer. This is neat. Let's say you're mowing in drier conditions. It's a little dusty. This is a solid outside covering. Goes all the way around the bagger. That way the dust isn't blowing back up on you or back on your feet. The dust is getting out of the side of the bags. So that's a pretty neat feature. It does come with a mulching kit. You see the mulching blade, and then here is the actual mulching kit. And when you put that in, it basically closes off the chute to where the grass just circulates under the deck. And you put this on to mulch. You take this off to bag, or if you want to discharge. That is another cool thing about this. Most mowers are going to discharge out the side of the mower. So that means you have to be super duper careful when you're in tight spots. You don't want to throw grass clippings all up in the mulch or the flowers or the pine needles. So you have to be extra careful if you're side discharging. Look where this one discharges. Right out the rear. So your clippings come out the rear of the mower and drop straight down so they don't throw out the side. that is super cool to me. 3 speeds, 1, 2, and 3. Here's your throttle, high and low on the speed. Different from commercial mowers, this thing does not have a blade brake. Meaning, what a blade brake is the X mark, you can crank the mower, start the engine, get it running, and you can squeeze the hydraulic handle and the machine will move without the blades turning. That's what the blade brake does. Well, a lot of these not as commercial type mowers, when you squeeze this and you pull the string to crank the engine, the blade's going to be turning. When the engine is turning, the blades are turning with this mower. So there's no blade brake on this mower. So that means when you're loading and unloading from a trailer, you got to be super careful. I don't know if I'm gonna let my guys load it with it running. It's super lightweight. You can push it with no problem whatsoever. We may just push them on the trailers, or if they're running, you simply push down on it, pick the front tires up when you load it. That way you don't take any chance on the blade hitting anything. Whereas the X mark, you just turn the blades off and the mower's still running and you can still use the hydros on it. So really anxious to see this thing work. I did demo one outside at the GIE. It was actually this identical one. The problem was the grass that we had to mow had been mowed to death and it was about a ½ inch tall. So I really couldn't get a feel for it, but I really wanted to try it out because this thing looks, the wheels and tires being as beefy as they are, the way the machine is built as good as it is, I think this may end up being a great choice for either the lawn care professional or even the homeowner. If you take serious pride in your yard, I mean, a man could buy one of these mowers for $800 and I mean, Briggs has a great name attached to it. The Massport is relatively new to me, so I don't know, but just looking at the machine, it's quality. That's what I get when I look at it and feel it and touch it and taste it. It's quality. So it may make a great choice for the homeowner that wants the option of discharging, mulching, or bagging. So it doesn't have any oil in it. It holds, I've read the owner's manual, it holds 20 inches. It holds 20 ounces of oil. So I'm going to get that in, get some gas put in there, and get this thing fired up, and we'll go out and mow with it and see what it does. So most of your oil, this is Kohler engine oil, 10W30. Most of them have this sight glass here that you can look at, and it's got the ounces written on it. This is a quart, so we know that's 32 ounces, and we need 20 ounces of oil in the machine. So that means we're gonna leave 12 in the container. So I don't have a funnel here. I have plenty of them at the shop, but none here. So let's try to do this real careful and not get any on the machine. All right, there we go. We're down to 12 ounces. So that means I've got 20 in the mower. Let's stick the dipstick back in. Make sure it's clean. Lock it down. Let's check it just to be sure. Oh yeah, plenty good. So when I crank an engine for the first time that doesn't have any oil in it, I like to pull the cord dry a few times. And what I mean by that is before I give it the gas so it can actually fire, I'm just gonna pull the cord a couple of easy times like so. So the reason I do that is just to get a little oil in the cylinders so that when the machine fires up for the first time, that split second, it's not running dry. It actually has some oil inside the motor. So let's fire it up, see if it'll crank. Nice. Let's go mow. Before I can mow, I need to know how high to mow it, right? Because I don't want to cut too much off at one time. You'll always hear me refer to mowing it high, not mowing it low, simply because it's tall fescue, hence the name. So let's go in here and let's see where we're at. We're a little over 5 inches. Some of it isn't quite to the 5-inch range yet. It's been about a month since I aerated and seeded. Let's see what this new grass is right here that's coming in really nice. Let's get it down in here. Yeah, 4.5 or so. So I'm gonna probably go at 4 inches. This mower doesn't have the increments labeled on the side of it, so I'm going to figure out what it is on with my roller here. So I'm on a good level surface, and I'm gonna go up under here and find the blade. Where's it at? There it is. And I'm going to check it with the stick using my finger. Wow, isn't that something? 2 notches from the top. So, you know, you got a notch, that very bottom notch down there is what I would consider the top, because that's what it would be mowing all the way up. And 2 notches down, 1, 2 down, is 4 inches. Isn't that something? Let's see what 3 is. And this is all pretty cool to me because I typically don't find push mowers that cut this high. So two from the top is 4 1/4, and 3 from the top is 4 inches. So I'm gonna go at 3 from the top and cut it at 4 inches for this test and see what happens. See, I've got the mulching chute in place, so it closes off. It closes off the opening in the back of the deck. This is kind of what the deck looks like up under it, in case you're wondering. Very good construction on this mower. Made really solid. So you've seen my previous video about how I manage leaves, and this is why I prefer to blow the leaves first. I can't compare this to anything else because I don't have anything else with a mulching deck, because I don't mulch leaves. I blow them, then mow. But you can see all the leaves that are left here, and you can see that this thing doesn't really mulch all that great. I'm sure if you ran over it 2 or 3 times, you may could chop them up. But you can see where I just ran the mower, and you see all the leaf debris left. So that's one of the reasons I don't like mulching leaves. Now up front, it seemed to mulch the grass just fine. So let's go put the bagger on and see how it does. So for a fair assessment, I've taken the mulch blade off and put the high lift blade back on. I have removed the mulching plug and installed the bagger. You can see the bagger just hangs on these little L-shaped tabs right here, which is really cool. Man, I hate to mess this new bagger up. So a little bit of difference, and here's the reason this mower isn't picking these leaves up as good as you think it should. This turf, I aerated and seeded it about a month ago, so it's still kind of in the recovery process, and it's not thick and dense and just overwhelmingly dense, I guess a bigger way to word it. Well, in order for this bagger and these mowers or baggers to work, there has to be something for the blade to suck against, meaning there has to be some type of resistance so that it picks the grass blade up. It's like if you took a bunch of leaves and threw them out in the road and ran over it with this mower, it's going to scatter them. It may pick up a few, but for the most part, it's going to scatter them. Well, the grass is that resistance. So the way I could fix that is I could drop the mower deck down and it should pick them up considerably more. Because I'm cutting more grass off and I have more resistance to create a better vacuum, if that makes any sense. So let's try that and see what happens. Yeah, noticeable difference in how it vacuums because it has that resistance. And you can see I've cut the grass. That's probably down around the 3.5 inch mark, but it's as clean as a whistle. So there's your difference right there. And now if I would have seeded earlier in the year and had a chance to pump the grass up and really get it going hard, and then tried to mow it now, and the grass was still vigorous and was sticking up good or growing good, I could mow it forward and still pick the leaves up. But in my particular case, I can't. And this is one of the problems we see with homeowners, is the yards that we treat, our company treats. I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to our clients, is they ride over the leaves and don't see them being picked up. So they drop the deck. They still don't see them picked up. They drop the deck. They keep dropping it lower and lower and lower. And then finally they end up with a skint yard. But the leaves are up, but they have a really short yard, and that's just not good for the fescue. So we've done mulching. I would imagine if I dropped the deck down, it would probably mulch those leaves. Hey. If I dropped the deck down, I would probably get a better result mulching, but I'm not going to. You can just use your imagination on that one. But the bagging, it made a serious difference in dropping the mower deck. So I'm gonna go back to my old school way, the way I do it. I'm gonna take and blow all these leaves over into my natural area, and then I'm gonna use the rear discharger to mow the entire yard. But hey, we still need to try that. Let's take the bagger off and see how the rear discharger works. Daddy. So now I've taken the bagger off and the mulch plug is open. So it's going to rear discharge, and I've raised the deck back up to the 4-inch level. So let's see what happens. I like it. I like it a lot. Here's your 2 lanes of rear discharge. Here's those first 2 lanes that we mulched. I'm impressed. I like it. And this is some of the thicker grass in the yard. This is where I've done the least amount of damage putting in the irrigation system. So all this is 5-year-old grass, and it's up tall and nice and mature and thick, and cuts right through it like a champ. So for the homeowner wanting a really cool mower, hey, this might be a good option for you. I'm not comparing it against a Honda or an Exmark or anything. I'm just simply giving you my thoughts on this mower. So before 10,000 comments come in saying this is better than that, I don't know and I don't care. I'm just telling you what this mower is working like, in my opinion. And it seems to be quite well. I like it a lot. $800, is it worth 800 bucks to a homeowner for a push mower? Well, I don't know. That's up to you. Depends on what you got in your budget to spend, or what you're willing to spend. How long will it last for a homeowner? I would imagine it would last a considerable amount of time. I would imagine it would last a few years. Just by my experience with the push mowers we've had in the past, the construction on them versus the construction on this, I think you'd be well pleased, and I think it would last you a while. For the guy who does commercial mowing, like the company we have, we're going to get 3 or 4 of them in the spring. I'm impressed. I like them. I really like the beefy tires, to where they just don't look like they would tear up all that easy. I like the option of the rear discharge, so that when we get in tight, delicate areas, little narrow strips of grass or small islands, we don't have to be weighted down with having to bag the grass all the time. We may even play around with the mulching feature on this. I definitely won't mulch during the springtime. I would rather discharge it, but during the summer, when you're not cutting as much of the grass off per mowing, we may try the mulching option. We'll see. We'll see how they work. The time will tell. I can't give you a straightforward answer for the commercial guys, because I've used this 10 minutes. So I don't know how long they're gonna last, but just by my 15 years of experience and looking at it, feeling it, tasting it, smelling it, touching it, I think it'll do well. I think it'll last quite some time. It's a very heavy duty, very sturdy built mower. Overall, final thoughts, from a homeowner standpoint, this would be a killer mower to have. If you're a push mow guy and you enjoy push mowing, getting out there, I personally like the look of a push mow yard. Yeah, I like my stripes and all that kind of jazz, but I really like the look of a push mow yard. Talking about stripes, it does have this little flap here that goes all the way across the back there. And it looks like if you cut the grass high enough, it does have some tension to where it pushes down on the grass. So it may leave a stripe. Kind of hard to tell this time of the year. Spring of the year, I'll better do it again and find out. Remember, we have the GCI Turf Academy coming up. You will need to be a subscriber to the channel in order to be a part of the GCI Turf Academy. So if you're not subscribed already and you have intentions of seeing what the GCI Turf Academy is, then you need to go in and subscribe and get that out of the way. So hope this helps. Man, you guys have an awesome day and Merry, Merry, Merry Christmas. See ya.